Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to the third outreach initiative by Life Synapses. Um, Life Synapses is a very, very close concept to me in my heart, and I've been able to resonate with fantastic people to come and really talk about mental health and wellness. Just to give you a little background, in the last 4 or 5 months, as a facilitator, as an experiential educator, somebody who's been doing a lot of work for the last 20 years, really noticed that the number of domestic violence cases and child abuse cases went up. And that is what really got me to really talk about bringing a space of mental health and wellness under the same umbrella. And the first outreach program we did were with 4 young psychologists. And we spoke about child-parent relationships. The second one was a very interesting one with a gentleman called Yasir Bilgrami. He was based out of Dubai, and we spoke about internal alchemy. And today we are really, really excited to welcome you, Rea, to this outreach initiative of Life Synapses. Yeah, so just to give you a little brief, very little, and because I'd really like Rea to talk about her own journey. But Rea is an energy worker. She's a tarot therapist. She's a performing artist. She's a martial artist. She's a capoeirista. She's a lover of magic, who believes that answers are really everywhere. We just need to open up the right channels, ask the right questions. She believes that healing is from within, and everyone has the ability to heal themselves. And please understand, this is not antagonistic towards modern science or modern medicine, but it is the fact that if problems are coming from within, the solutions also come from within. I have known Rea for more than half my life. Rea is a dancer. She's trained in ballet for the longest time. I trained in martial arts. Somewhere our paths crossed, and we studied martial arts together. She tried to teach me dance and failed miserably.
Hey, that's not true.
Yeah. So, but I can do a pirouette for sure,
And a split.
and a split. So, but it's been this very deep connection of many conversations over the last 2 decades about tarot, about awareness, about the body, about wellness, about going within, and yeah, so I thought it was just, I think this was the right opportune moment to invite Rea to come and be a part of Life Synapses, come and talk to us about self-care, about reaching, a personal sense of freedom and self-empowerment. And so Rea, tell us a little bit about yourself. This is your moment. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so well, I've had a long journey. Within this, I feel like my spiritual journey and my dance and formative journey have sort of interlaced, and this is the product of that. Well, honestly, my conscious journey with healing and energy work started when I was 16. That's when I was learning Reiki. I got my mastership when I was 21.
Wow.
That was just the beginning, because after that it was all about, see, because energy work has the same basis. It's energy is the base of everything that we know we are.
Absolutely.
Everything, right?
We are vibrations.
So the minute you understand the works of energy and vibrations, everything in that department or everything in that sort of area of life becomes, for me, a space of curiosity. So my whole journey from 21 to, I think, onwards, has been about, wanting to learn different ways of doing things at every stage where I've been stuck in my own personal journey. Find different ways or different avenues or different people who come in and say things to you, and you say, oh yeah, I already knew that. I learned that like 20 years ago, but it's relevant to me now. And that's the journey. That's how one flows with life. So we have this lovely card, so I think we're going to flow in this. But just to sort of give you a generalization, I started my journey with Reiki at 16. I started my journey with dance at 18, and I started reading tarot at 19. So that's when it all happened, right? And over the years since then, I've had many injuries. I've had many, issues with myself as a dancer. you have emotional issues, you have like mental issues and everything. It's
You have
very
physical pain.
that's
Physical pain as a body practitioner.
that's the obvious one. But as a
Yeah.
performer, there's a lot of other stuff that also, and all that physical pain is a result of this mental emotional stress. And
Sure.
am I good enough? And
Sure.
the world is seeing me. Am I being judged? La 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 la. So yeah, eventually I found myself unwell. Issues with my sex as a
Sure.
dancer. I found myself. I want to look there.
Sure. Sorry, we're trying to see if we could find the questions, but yeah, please.
Yeah. No, so I was injured. I had 15 years of injuries that I never rested. And basically, I realized at some point that I wasn't listening to myself, and I was just like going. It was all very external in my life. And I really to see me, I have to be good. It doesn't matter if I'm injured. I can still do it. The job has to be done. The show must go on. All of these pressures pushed me to a space where I literally, my body gave up. My stomach, I had IBS forever. Like I couldn't digest anything. I was sick, and it took me a long time. And at that point, I went to a doctor. Many doctors, very good doctors actually. They really helped as well. But their thing was, my knees were bad, so injury. When they saw the injury, they said like surgery, and I don't think I was ready for surgery. I don't think anybody's ever ready for surgery. And with my stomach, there was like, hordes of medication given to me, which didn't help. In fact, it made me worse. It made me weaker. It made me sicker. And at one point, I just, dumped everything. I was fed up, and I was just like, that's it. I want to heal. That's it. I want to heal. And then the masters came in, and the psychics came in, and all of these people came in and said, hey, look at this aspect, look at that aspect. And that's been my journey, because I lived the external life. I crashed. I found my own feet in healing. I found it better myself, because I realized these were my issues, and I had to solve them here and here so that my body could heal. And then 10 years later, I'm back to capoeira, and I feel really good about it, because I did heal. I am healed. I'm fine now. My stomach's fine. My body's fine. My knees are perfect. 10 years later, it's amazing.
Well, there's a saying that those who seek really find. So I think it's really important to be a seeker, and a seeker of knowledge, of wisdom, which transcends also what the living world kind of gives us access to. There's a lot which goes beyond what the eyes can see, and what the senses can feel. Yeah. So
that's the magic. I love.
Yeah, that is the magic. It's really I'm fascinated with all things that you can't see. Yeah, so I think that is why
fascinated and sometimes terrified.
also, if you delve into spaces that you can't see, you'll always be surprised. I have a question. Yeah, when Life Synapses was started, the whole idea was to bring an umbrella of mental health and wellness. Yeah. Why I differentiate between both of them is because the usage of mental health is, needs a certain qualification, needs degrees, and so on and so forth. And to really admire the effort of the academics who've really gone into understanding the workings of the mind and so on and so forth. Yeah, and that's science, that's classified as science and so on and so forth. And then on the other side, last week, 2 weeks back, we had Yasir, who was talking about internal alchemy. Today, you're talking about tarot, and there is this metaphysical, there is this esoteric space. It's meta science. It's really somewhere beyond science. So you told us that it was a whole journey of injury and so on and so forth, which really got you started. But why this need to start Reiki at 16? At 16, we are worried about different things in life. Yeah, why this calling of awareness and healing? Tell our viewers a little bit about it.
So why at 16?
Or why?
To begin with. I'll tell you why at 16.
Okay.
It was my mom. So I was 15 when it all started, and I was giving my pre-boards. And as you know, when you're studying for your boards and your pre-boards, all you want to do is anything else except study, right? So my mom was going off to meet my first guru at that point, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to And I was like, please take me with you. She's like, no, you sit and study. When your board's over, I'll take you, right? So that day, I'll never forget, she came back home and she came back, like, she walked in and she was just like, it was like, she was glowing golden. Wow. And I was just like, Ma, where do you come from? You're glowing, you're like gold. And she's like, you can see that? And I was like, well, what am I looking at? But you're just like, I didn't know what I was looking at, but she was just, so she said, okay, you know what, I'm going to take you. And that's why at 16, because I was already curious. I think it started for me before that, when I was younger. I had a lot of experiences myself. And when I was sad and when I was upset, I always had my imaginary friend come in and she would always take care of me, okay? So yeah, now, you know, this is a space of open, open space of discussion, so I'm going to share it all. But I think it started earlier for me. I think the calling and the seeking was always there within me.
Yes.
And I was fascinated by the tools that I could use to answer questions that I had, you know, for life. And the tools I found were movement, for sure. That was I think that was my first tool, because because you know, when I was really upset and the times when and as a teenager I had all this angst and all this anger and all this, and I remember the only way I could really like feel semi-normal was when I'd shut my door, put on the music and lose it. Like I'd dance like a maniac. I just, like, you know, move my body in ways that this energy would just release. Of course, later I realized that energy can also be grounded. It doesn't always have to be released.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I mean. So that's been the journey for me. That's why I started at 16. And then from there, it was always a space. Also, the coming together of the science and meta-science that you were talking about earlier, I did study. So psychology was a subject I studied in school, and I was always really excited about it, and I was pretty good at it. In fact, I believe my teacher from school still, and after I passed, I still used my notes, because my cousin, who was like 3 years junior, came and said, are these your notes? They're being used in class as an alternative. There was always a space of, like, you know, and as I grew, I realized that I had friends and people who would talk to me openly about stuff, and I don't know, to answer their questions, to answer mine. I just became this curious person, and this is the path I chose. Everything that I couldn't see, everything that was a little off the beaten path was more exciting to pursue for me. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into what we're here for. You know, it's been a fascinating journey. Like I said, you know, I've known Rea for a very long time as a dancer, as a martial artist. Very strong back. I'm a big guy, but for years we practiced movement together, and she can lift me. So, or she could lift me.
Hey, I can.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your understanding of tarot. Yeah, what is your connection with it? What is the space of synthesis, the symbiosis that you find with tarot? And just for letting all of you know that, hey, you know, Rea is going to be might be answering a couple of questions. So come up with your questions, write them in the comments, and Rea will try to answer at least a few of them. Yes. So tell us a little bit about tarot. What is your understanding of it? And I understand it's not an absolute definition, because everyone has a different relationship with it.
Yeah.
So tell us your relationship.
My relationship with tarot started off, I guess, like most people, said, oh, let me see what's going to happen, what's going to happen. And over a period of time, I realized, you know, I actually had a choice. I would see what's going to happen. I decide, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then suddenly something would change in my life, and I would change my course, and therefore something else would happen. And I'm like, this is not working. Then I realized that maybe prediction wasn't the way to go for me. I found it easier to open cards and be able to read the energy. And I feel like for myself, and especially for myself, when when somebody tells me this is going to happen, I'm already resisting it, because, you know, I didn't want people to tell me about my life, and I wanted that thing about choosing. And I realized it came from a space of when you tell somebody what's going to happen, you tend to take away their power, because it stays in, even if you're not a believer, even if it'll stay in your head and it'll play out at some point, right?
Yeah.
For me, it works better if I'm presented with the energy, so that I can make the choice myself about where I want to go, what I want to do, and decide, because we are co-creators, you know.
Very important.
And where we think is where we go. And so it's very important to have that be empowered in your mind so that you're like, okay, now this is what I want from my life. This is who I am, and this is how I'd like to. And for me, tarot really, really highlights those areas beautifully. So I love this as a tool.
Yeah,
amongst others.
No, sure. I've seen I've seen different kinds of cards with you, and this very strong intuitive connection that you build when you're doing a session. And I've been for a few sessions with Rea over the last few years, and I've noticed that when she's able to completely connect, you can see it. Yeah, and there's this fantastic connection that you have, and that's a space where one can't mess around and one can't have random conversations. Yeah. Okay, so I come back to this disparity between science and meta science. Yeah, because I get a lot of these questions. One of the things that I've been very passionate about for most of my life is to draw parallels between physics, metaphysics, science, meta science. Believing that they're all on the same continuum. And one does not have to be really antagonistic towards each other. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It can be a beautiful marriage if one is open enough to be able to, allow all of it to settle in.
Yeah. But science says there has to be research, there has to be thesis, there has to be various, there's a protocol. And whenever we are talking about, as a Qigong practitioner, I've been practicing Falun Gong for 17 years. There's a lot of documentation which has been done. But when you're talking about esoteric practices, I was a Reiki practitioner for 11 years. Yeah. But there is no documented scientific research. Yeah.
Or maybe there was, but like over the times, when territorial wars, etc. happened, lots of this beautiful ancient information was destroyed. And in India, we have the Vedas. The Vedas have a lot of scientific knowledge. In fact, I feel like coming back to what you're talking about, I feel like the disparity somewhere, it just struck me, the disparity somewhere is closing, because of course people still have their opinions, and those are people's opinions. But in terms of the studies and the research that's been done, there is, of course, metaphysics, meta-science that is, you can't see it, touch it, feel it, and therefore it's always going to be a bit like ominous and interesting for me. But mystical is the word.
Yes.
But even in science now, with the whole quantum study, there is a whole different aspect of science that is being suddenly, and people are asking these questions, like whether it's Carl Jung, or whether it's Einstein. In fact, they have even Nikola Tesla, they say, how did they get this knowledge that they got? And they would talk about these dreams and these daydreams and these separate spaces or different dimensions that they enter into, where the inspiration came from. And then all these fabulous things that they created came from a space.
Yeah. No.
Science is now also acknowledging that.
Science is actually a rediscovery of nature. And whatever you're able to understand, you call it science, and whatever you're not able to understand is yet.
Yeah.
It is beyond the realm of science, and so on and so forth.
But the most important thing is in school, was it class 6, I think, on CBSE? The first thing we learned in physics, definition of energy. Energy is the ability to do work. This definition has never left me because it is the basis of everything I do.
Yes.
I mean, everything all of us do. But
yes. Yeah. We have a question from Diksha Chauhan. She said, "Hello, Rea. Would you be doing some reading today?"
Sure. Why not? If we have time, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And we will get into a reading right now. Yeah. So, well, I have a question.
Yes, I think it is time.
So I have a question. The whole idea of life synapses in my head was to essentially make the whole concept approachable, accessible, and affordable. I realized that a lot of people need this access to be able to speak their hearts out, get clarity, whether it's a space in mental health, whether it is a space in wellness. Everyone needs a little bit of help. And I think, we are also stepping out somewhere, I really believe, of the structures of, the past, and, whether it is from the time of our parents or grandparents, where everyone had to be in control and everyone had to be in order. Yeah, I think there is a space of reaching out. Yeah, people are reaching out to ask for help. And I think it is such a beautiful shift in human consciousness that one is able to swallow one's own internal workings of the ego and saying, listen, I need help.
Yeah. Reaching out to reach in.
Reach in.
Reaching out to go in.
Yeah, reach out to reach in. So this was the whole thought with which I initiated Life Synapses along with my team. The thought is very, very, it's a heart thought. It's not a mind thought. Yeah. So I have a question. My question is, am I in the right direction? Is Life Synapses in the right direction?
One question.
Yeah,
one question.
One question.
Let's get a clear answer.
Okay.
Let's ask one question.
Yes, one question. So one of the things about tarot is that you have to ask specific right questions.
Well, it's about anything, in fact.
So can you just show the card?
Yes, I will. But I just want to just highlight the point you just made, that it's very important to have clarity in your mind to move in any direction, because what you think is what you create in your life. Vic got the 9 of Wands. This is a beautiful deck by King Kranz. It's called the Wild Unknown Tarot. So the 9, this is interesting because the 9 says that it's popularly known as the card of the wounded warrior. This is somebody who has achievement after achievement, but they've needed to still fight to hold their ground. Not because it's like you've been fighting, but you've been winning. But you still have to, like, make sure that what you're creating is secure. What you're creating is. So at this point, you seem to have come to a point where you are a little tired of the fight, but you're still on top.
I'm exhausted.
I know, but you're still.
But
the beauty is you're still on top.
Yeah.
And all that fighting and all that experience of not even fighting, just standing your ground, has brought you to a point where you are now ready to let go of some of the things that you were resisting, because of which you were needing to fight. So I think Life Synapses, because when you work with people and you work with energy, it's like when you do a healing session. If I do a Reiki healing session with you, then the energy is flowing through me. So it's happening to me as well, So as you facilitate and as you start this beautiful project, I think that a lot of what happens here will influence your life in a very beautiful, positive way. So I think this wounded warrior is going to finally stand in his power. And I see the 3 of Cups, which is coming together with like-minded people, creating something beautiful. This is a very emotionally fulfilling energy of friends, of family, of coming together, of creating a community. So all in all, I think this seems like a really, really, with the Spirit card, Spirit of Water, I feel like we have this really beautiful combination of energy. So I think this is going to be a great success.
I really hope so. And, like I said, the whole thought is a heart thought. It's not...
and it's because it's your heart thought. You have such a lovely big heart. You're going to fill this project with love.
I really hope so, because, I got really affected by the number of domestic violence and child abuse cases. Came across, the numbers are staggering. It really, really troubled me. Hey, but I noticed that you're using 3 decks at the moment. Yeah, so explain, why are you using 3 decks? And just before you answer that question, please, you can start writing your questions on the comments on Facebook Live. Yeah, and we will slowly get to them. So please.
One question at a time. So
yes.
It's easier to, since it's a general.
Yes.
I won't be going very deep.
Yes.
So why so many decks? I also, by the way, have my dice. And I have my charms.
Okay.
Yeah, whichever. You want to pull a charm?
Yeah, why not?
Let's see what happens. What did you get? Oh, you picked the biggest one. I'm going to talk about this. He pulled the dragon, of course. Of course he pulled the dragon. Oh, beautiful. So, let's talk about this. Okay. The dragon is... okay, these are all little tidbits that I found, here and there. Here and there I found, and Kenshi, little against the black, it's better there. So the dragon is known as a master of all the elements. To be in dragon energy, you have to have mastery over all the elements. That's air, water, fire, earth. And of course, the 5th element would be ether, where once you're in balance in the 4, then you directly rise to the 5th, and it's all the information of the universe is at your fingertips. But for that, there is some things that one needs to let go of, and that's where the Kenshi comes in. Kenshi, the scissor comes in.
This year has just been a year of letting go.
Cutting away.
Yeah, really, just cutting getting rid of so many things, like getting rid of all my furniture. Like
Yeah.
85%
To
of
begin with.
my belongings I got rid of because
But
I
see,
just
such a
said,
light feeling.
it is.
Because
It
so
is.
much baggage, and even material, even stuff, like it collects energy. And after a point, it's good to let that go and then just like let that energy flow again. And that's the flowing.
So there's an exercise that I'd like all of you to do, whoever is watching. The exercise is look at your cupboard. Yeah, look at all the clothes that you have in your cupboard. All the clothes that you have not worn for at least 6 months, take them out. Yeah, and it's a great metaphor for the fact that the blessings are in abundance, and if you allow yourself to empty the spaces, the cupboards of your mind, new blessings out there to come in, and that is exactly something I believed in for the longest time.
You have to clear space for more new
more
energy
to come in.
But quickly, to answer your question about the different tools, I do use various tools because of my excitement and curiosity and my love to learn. So I've been learning all my life. So I use various tools because I think various tools give you various areas, for me, various spaces in my brain open up. Okay? When I see dice, it's like something else lights up. Okay? When I see cards, something else lights up. I also use meditation and visualization as techniques, of course, movement. I also like to use the written word as a technique for release and healing. Color on paper. So it's basically, my approach is expressive arts that comes from my background of dance and theater. Of course, the tarot and all the different kinds of decks that exist. Sound is also something that the right frequency of sound can just open and
Absolutely.
release a whole bunch of energy. So I use all of these various tools depending on who's sitting next to me and the kind of energy they have and what we need to work through.
Sure.
So which is why and crystals, my beautiful crystals.
Okay, so there is a question. There is a statement, a question which has come from Diksha Chauhan. Diksha is watching. She says, as we are talking about energy today, I feel that my energy is too much invested in my past relationship, which I just moved out from. So my question is, should I wait a little longer for a reunion with this person, or should I let go and move on?
Good question. Even before, I'm still shuffling the cards, so. But Diksha, just even before answering that, pulling the cards to get an answer, I feel like that's something that you need to maybe assess. How do you feel about this relationship right now? Are you ready to meet the person? See, because this is also self-care is also a lot about listening to how you feel. Like when you think of this person, do you feel like a heaviness? Do you feel a lightness? Do you close up? Do you open up? Okay, this is the deck I've chosen. Let's go. This is just like I'm open-ended. Yeah, I'm just asking this question. I like to leave a lot of questions in the air.
Turn the screen slightly towards you.
Thank you. Okay, you got the Queen of Swords. In this deck, it's the Mother of Swords. Okay, and the Queen of Swords is a lady who has been through her share of stuff. She has, before I say that, this is a suit of the mind, because this is to do with your thoughts, your attitudes, your ideas, what you think, the thoughts that you think. And this person, this Mother of Swords, is a person who's been through a lot. And I feel like, when you go through a lot, you reach a point where you're like, I'm not taking any shit anymore, right? So this seems to be you. So I feel like it is very important for you to just see how you feel before you go and start meeting this person. If you miss this person, if it was a great relationship, again, there are all those things that have to be taken into account. I don't know the space of this relationship since I don't know you, and we are not talking. But the point is that you are a person who doesn't take nonsense, or you're now stepping into the energy where you're going to not take any nonsense. So if you're sure about this, then you can do anything you like, because you're standing your ground, you're in your power, and you're like, you know what, if I have something to say, I'm just going to come out and say it. There is no complication. I'm not holding anything. I'm not taking energy from the other person. So maybe you're ready, but I don't want to say, go for it, or don't do it. I'm going to say, this is what you're showing up as, quite powerful. So if you'd like to do it, the choice is yours. You know best. You actually know best. Everybody, like I said, healing happens from within us. All the answers lie within us. These are just little help along the way for us to clear out some of those, cobwebby spaces. I hope that answered. I hope that helped.
Great. We have another question. I'm just looking at my phone. Priyanka Belavari. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, your last name, Priyanka. She's obviously been through a lot, and she asks that, will I reconcile with my husband, or will it end up in divorce?
These are big questions. Hey, okay, let's just see what's coming now. Priyanka, I'm shuffling cards. Okay, Priyanka, I think over here, somewhere, I got the starfish. Okay, I'm using a different deck. This is the Animal Spirit deck by the same Wild Unknown Tarot. And you got the starfish, and I feel like, and this is in your emotional area. Okay, so with the starfish, I feel that something to do with this relationship, and I don't know what. I'm going to let you decide what that is. But something to do with this relationship has an energy of log kya bolenge, people from the outside. There's a lot of external, influences in this relationship. I feel that maybe if you can work through that, there might be room. Again, I can't really say if there's room. Such a big question. I get quite. Yeah, if you can work through that, you're definitely going to find more stability in this relationship. But there is this strong energy, and this is a very complicated space. It's a space of conditioning for a lot of us. Ki log kya bol rahe hain? What are people thinking? I mean, how are people seeing me? How am I being? My judgment, etc. There's a lot in this area. But I feel that if you can overcome that, then there is a lot of stability in this relationship. I hope that answered. I'm trying to keep it short, so I don't want to speak, because if I start, then it's going to be a whole discussion. It's going to be an hour gone, and it's just going to be you and me.
So somebody has just sent me a question on WhatsApp. Does not want their name to be shared, and saying that they have been experiencing a lot of anxiety and fatigue for the last few months, and they seem to be stuck in like a catch-22 downward spiral space. So question is, will they be able to get out of it, and how fast? Yeah.
Okay, fine.
You will.
You're absolutely getting out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just quickly speaking about the general energy of the last few months, it's been heavy, it's been anxious, people have been panicking. We've been, a lot of people who don't suffer from anxiety on a general, basis, on a regular basis, have also been feeling a lot of anxiety. So there is a collective anxiety that is affecting all of us. Those of us who are sensitive energetically are also picking up this energy, right? So I feel that you could be one of those people, unless something's happened. A lot of this fatigue and energy could be things that you're picking up from your environment. This is why it's very important to have a self-care ritual where you cleanse yourself regularly. You can use smudging devices, agarbatti or loban, or Palo Santo. I like to use my Palo Santo. Use this to smudge your space, yourself, the space you sleep. Also, I feel that to feel better when it comes to anxiety, a lot of salt soaks really help. So if you take a bucket and it's simple, you put some salt in it, you put your paws in it, your feet and your hands in it, and give yourself 10 minutes. The salts really help cleanse and rejuvenate the system. Yes, you are going to come out of this. You're going to come through this. There are various techniques to do it, like I just said, but one of the so I did pull a card while you was asking the question, and you got medicine bag, and the medicine bag also speaks. Okay, so this is the deck called the Native Spirit. So this is a lot of native techniques, old native techniques being used here. The medicine bag is a little pouch that you keep. It could be a pouch this big, or maybe even smaller, where you keep certain. So it depends. First, you have to identify the things that make you feel good. Like, for example, for me, and I'm giving you my example, and you can decide for yourself. I like my one stone. This is my favorite stone. So this is something I put in my pouch. I put certain things that remind me of that give me a sense of peace, that calm me down, that ground me even. Little things. I put them in my pouch and I keep the pouch with me everywhere I go. And anytime, so I do this even with a little bottle where you fill the bottle with certain stones or salt or stuff, and you keep that with you. And wherever you go, when you start feeling that energy, because you associate peace to the pouch, you take it out, you hold it, you take some energy from that. So basically, what you're doing is you're filling an object or a pouch or a bottle with energy of peace, and then you're carrying that around. So every time you start feeling a little unsure, you hold on to that, and that connects you. Alternatively, if you are still struggling with anxiety, please feel free to get a session, because there is a lot of stuff that can be done that can't be done in like this snappy, quick way, because we have a time limit, but otherwise we can do it. Quickly, before we go, anonymous person, there is luck coming your way. That's my thingy of luck. So there is luck coming your way. So you're in luck, and everything's going to be just fine.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Neha Sharma Pandit, I'm going to say it in Hindi because her question is in Hindi. Neha Sharma Pandit का मैसेज आया है. वो पूछ रही है कि वो एक टीचर है, अध्यापिका है, और उनका प्रमोशन कब तक होगा जॉब में. ये बहुत कठिन प्रश्न है नेहा जी. ये बहुत कठिन प्रश्न है क्योंकि जॉब मार्केट इस समय, और रिया टैरो के जरिए आपको बताएंगी, बट क्योंकि मैं इंडस्ट्री में हूँ और कंसल्टेंट हूँ, तो जॉब मार्केट बहुत खराब है. तो अगर नौकरी है तो अभी it's nice to just sit as a sitting duck and stay put. But please Ria, आप बताइए नेहा जी को.
नेहा जी, I just want to remind you कि मैं ये फिर से बोलना चाहूंगी कि मैं predictions में करती हूँ. वो मेरा तरीका नहीं है पढ़ने का, लेकिन मैं जरूर आपको कुछ बताऊंगी इसके.
अच्छा, वो बोल रही हैं कि ये होने वाला था.
अच्छा, होने वाला था.
Actually, it was just about to happen.
अच्छा, ठीक है. Okay, it was just about to happen, लेकिन हुआ नहीं क्योंकि situation बदल गई clearly.
But COVID की वजह से फंस गए, बोल रही हैं.
Wow, this is some powerful energy, नेहा जी. एक और कार्ड ले रही हूँ आपके लिए.
इनको एक बार कार्ड्स दिखा देते हैं.
मैं जरूर दिखाऊंगी. एक सेकंड. I have to be ready also. अच्छा, पहला कार्ड एक करके दिखाऊंगी मैं. पहला कार्ड है Mother of Pentacles. So this is the Queen of Pentacles. ये Mother of Pentacles जैसे energy of Mother Earth, जैसे धरती माँ की energy है, super abundant, है ना. आपको जो चाहे वही मिलेगा. तो this is a space of sorry, मैं हिंदी में चली जाऊंगी तो I'll go.
दोनों में जाइए.
हाँ, मैं दोनों में normally. तो Mother of Pentacles is a space of abundance. ठीक है. This is to remind you, ये आपको remind कर रहा है कि जो भी abundance आप बाहर सीख कर रही हैं, वो आपके अंदर है. ठीक है. you are the abundance. Okay. So कोई job होने वाला था, वो नहीं हुआ, कुछ नहीं होता. जब situations, collective situations भी बदलेंगी, जैसे जैसे बदलेंगी, आपकी abundance कहीं नहीं जाएगी. अब ये अगर आप चाहती हैं कि वही जॉब मिले, उसका नहीं बता सकती मैं, लेकिन ये डेफिनेटली बता सकती हूँ कि आगे चलते आपकी बहुत सारी सक्सेसफुल चीजें होंगी if you stand in your power and understand and remember that you are the abundance, and that energy will come from you. ठीक है. I think the supporting cards are also lovely. There's the Father of Swords, which is the King of Swords, which is being very mentally secure, knowing what you want. So if you know what you want, if you have clarity on not even the exact job maybe, but like the space of success or the space of abundance you'd like to find yourself in, then hold that energy inside you. Keep that feeling inside you. Feel happy. Okay.
It's tough to feel happy these days.
It is. But we only feel happy inside of us.
Yes.
We only do. It's true.
Yes. Yes.
So think of your abundance. Feel your abundance. It's like you are Lakshmi. It's like you are Durga. Feel that Shakti that is inside of you. It's inside of all of us. Okay. Each of us have all of these aspects. And I think there's some beautiful balance that's coming here for you. So yes, I think you are abundance, and therefore there will be something beautiful coming for you ahead. Patience is also highlighted here a little bit.
Fantastic. Very interestingly, my colleague at Singlity, Vipin Kumar Tanwar, asks this question.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vipin, you and I need to have a conversation about this.
We can also have a conversation.
What does September hold for him?
Nice question.
Because there's a lot going on. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Should I roll the dice for Vipin? Let's roll the dice for Vipin. Vipin, I'm rolling the dice for you. Oh. Nice. Vipin, personally for you, you got the number 9. Okay. Which is a 6 and a 3. And the number 9 talks about, so all of life is cyclic. All of life goes in phases and cycles. And the number 10 is considered the completion of a phase. The 9 is just getting to that completion. So it's really like even Vikram got a 9, right? The 9 was about like, okay, now I'm here. Now I'm going to move into the next phase. But this is me reaching the pinnacle of this phase, reaching the climax sort of. So this is just a step before the climax of this phase. And I feel that September is going to be a whole new energy coming in for you. So you can let go. And that is why the letting go is such a massive space in especially August 2020, but August 2020 has been like, whoa, mother of all months in 2020.
Yes.
September, therefore, will have a slightly easier vibration to it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, of course, a lot of that is to do with where you are in your mind and how positive and negative you're thinking. But yes, definitely an end of a cycle. The cycle is closing. So the closing of cycles are a little bit hard, but every time a cycle closes, a new one begins at the same point. And like we spoke earlier, it's important to get rid of the old energy so that the new energy can be beautiful. So if you look, the 3 and the 6, I have choices for you. And I have, again, that abundance, that coming together of people, the working with other people. So that's great. But the choices and the balance is a major aspect of closing the cycle and starting a new one.
Okay, so we have another question. We have actually a couple of questions coming up. Rashmi Manshani Yadav is asking, hi, trying for a particular school for my son for the next session. He will be going to 4th standard. Will it happen or will it happen and will it be good for him? His name is Rishabh.
That's a lot of questions. Let's see. Will it happen? Of course.
We'll try to answer one question.
I just have another, the particular school, right? You want to know if that particular
Trying
school
for a particular school for my son for the next session.
Again, I just want to reiterate that I don't do predictions, and the questions are very specific to do with other people. I do a lot more work on self, so it's a lot of like opening spaces within yourself. That my work is. I'm going to still try and see what's coming through for you. Who am I speaking to?
You are speaking to Rashmi.
Yes, okay, Rashmi.
Yeah.
Rashmi, let's see. I think, Rashmi, there will be some information coming through soon via email or text that should clarify this for you. I don't know if it's going to happen. Okay, so there's the 8 of Wands and there's Justice, okay? So the Justice card really talks about that balance, right? It's the scales of balance, it's the bringing things to fruition, it's the being in the right place at the right time. So definitely if there is... and the 8 of Wands is about quick communication. So you are going to quickly be hearing about this. I don't want to make a prediction because that's not what I do. But just so you know, if this school does not work out, then it doesn't matter where your son goes, because where he goes will be where he should go, where his future will be secure. Okay, maybe it's possible to think about it this way: if this doesn't work out, maybe this isn't the place. Maybe it's your expectation of the place that's pushing him there, or that you're wanting him to, find this exact space. But I feel that if it doesn't work out, whatever works out will be absolutely beautiful. So.
Okay, so Senan D'Souza has a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see me migrating to a new country soon?
Do you see yourself migrating to a new country soon? Hey, if you want to go for it, literally. I mean, this is what I tell a lot of people. Some people ask me In fact, I have friends who ask me when they get hurt, should I get the injection or not? Should I get a tetanus or not? And I'm always like, you know what, you got to get what you think you need to get. If you feel like you really want to get out of here and you want to go and find another place to live and start a new life, why not? You know, so if you see yourself going there, then you will absolutely go there. But I see the tarot telling me that this is a space, a bit of a confusion space. There is, so you got the moon, okay? And the moon does not show us everything very clearly. You know, and even if it's a full moon night and there is some light, everything's still in shadow. It's the sun that really throws light on everything and just like the shadows disappear. So I feel like you have some fears about this moving. You want to move, but you probably have some fears about it. Or you don't have all the information just yet. Wait, I'm going to pull another card, okay? It's just to get some more information. Yeah. And I think these fears, you get the Eight of Swords, okay? And the Eight of Swords is really a mental prison that you create for yourself. So I think some of those fears are blocking. So it's your fears that are blocking you. So if you really want to do this, hey, just go ahead and do it, you know? If you'd like, of course, to work through them, then get a session. You can get a session with me or any of the other people at Life Synapses or anybody else you're comfortable with. But I think it helps to get a session and clear the stuff out, okay?
I think it's so lovely that people are actually, you know, wanting to connect, wanting to know, wanting to use multiple thought processes, with whether it is tarot, whether it is intuitive movement therapy, which is, you know, your expertise as well. Whether it is psychology, whether it is like I am in love with positive psychology now. You know, first I thought it was something else, and you know, after having worked with it for the last 5 years, I really enjoy that whole space. So yeah, so please, hey, you want a session, Ria? Please book a session. We're going to put a form out very soon. We will put a recording of this video as well for people who have missed it, who may have missed it, who would want to see it later.
I just quickly wanted to add to what Vic said earlier, that it's so nice that people are finding different ways of healing, of you know, improving their lives. And I think different ways are also fun. And I think the bottom line here is fun, because when things are fun, your vibration is already high. You're already open to the new stuff, you know, so you're really willing to let go of stuff. And who said healing and mental health and wellness cannot be fun?
Yes.
It should be fun.
It should be.
We should be having fun at every stage, even if it's something really serious. We should find our sense of humor and the light side, you know, and be able to move through it. I think that's what helps us heal. So please laugh more.
So
have more fun.
Just to 8 years back, it was an end of a relationship. I was, you know, going through a lot of trouble. So I walked up to a friend of mine. I walked up to a senior friend of mine, a mentor almost, and he looked at me, and the first thing he asked me was, "Kitne baje fatti hai?" Yeah, and just that question cracked me up, and I think I laughed after.
And then you released all
I released and I laughed and I cried in the same breath. Hey, we have a question from somebody we know, Vipin Nair.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Vipin works for an organization who sources organic fruits from farmers across the country and gets them to you. So Vipin has a very valid question. Is the world going to be concerned about eating healthy? Or is the world going to stop eating fruits altogether?
I definitely think that the world is going to continue eating. Well, see, look, everything's about balance, right? Balance is the key. In the world, also, you have spaces where there will be people who will eat healthy and be very conscious about what they eat, and there will be people who, you know, eat junk and are, even some of them are unconscious about what they eat, some of them are conscious about eating junk. So you have all of these various kinds of people, right? But the entire world, when you're asking about it, it is a balance of, so you will have both. You will have people who will be, you know, consciously eating healthy and eating lots of fruits, that the skin is better and their other stuffs is better. And I think the balance is what makes the world a beautiful place. Of course, you get the storytellers, so maybe you can, along with the fruit that you provide, you can provide some nice stories to encourage people. Maybe somebody listening, maybe you can start a story book for children, where we encourage them. It's because we have to work on the world. We have to work on ourselves. We have to work on our children and the world around us. So if you use the tools of encouragement to teach people that eating healthy is a really good thing, well, I think you will have your wish. I love food, just so you know.
And we're happy to receive hampers, Vipin. Yeah. Okay, so there's a gentleman called Sohail Aman Khan who has written. Sohail is an OCD patient, and he says, I have some research achievement in my 20 years of life, but I'm happy with unhappiness.
Okay.
So, and this is something which is very interesting. It happens a lot with people. You have to find solace in a certain state. I have lots of things with nothing. This feeling like eternal pain for someone, almost like a melancholic yearning. But I want to focus on my research only. Now I need advice from nature. So there seems to be a lot of questions, sub-questions into your text, Sohail. So
I have.
Yeah, so we will try to read it again because it got a bit confusing. Yeah, so research, achievement, 20 years of life, happy with unhappiness. Yeah, the feeling of eternal pain, longing for someone, but he wants to focus on research. So I think the question is that there is a lot of confusion. There's a lot of melancholic yearning. Yeah. So how does it go?
Okay, so look, your question is loaded. Okay, and there is a lot that needs to be worked through to be able to answer this question. But I'm going to start with the card that came out, which is the talking stick. And the talking stick is, again, it's a Native American technique, what I was looking for. It's a native technique where in therapy, you get the stick. So in this card, this is the stick. It's quite beautiful. And the stick is the talking stick. And when you hold the stick, you use it as a support to be able to say things to yourself that you have not said yet, that you're afraid to say. That sort of gives you a talking stick. Can also be interpreted as therapy or as just anything that's therapeutic for you. When I say therapy, I mean, yes, sure, find a counselor, find somebody to speak to, or, you know, arts, movement, as we've already spoken about, there's so many things that are therapeutic. Use different tools. Find that it sounds like you've a little bit, you know, what's the word? You've given almost maybe given up on certain thing, which is why you're just like, okay, fine. You've resigned yourself to a certain way of thinking, and I feel like that resignation, is that correct? Resigning yourself to that sort of blocks you from allowing the new energy to come in. It's also another way of not letting go. And I feel like sharing maybe your story, you could even share your story maybe to inspire people, to help people who are, because you have a lot of research. I don't exactly know what your research is based on, honestly, that wasn't clear, but I'm thinking also about your, you know, what you're calling OCD. I have been told that I have the same stuff if it's just about so, you know, these in psychology, there are many terms, many labels that are given, and these labels are given so that one can, you know, sort of understand and also like bring and close in the therapy so that, you know, that you're working on this particular set of things. In my way, for me, I especially healing myself, I realized the more I put labels on myself, the more I got stuck in them. You know, I started really identifying with them. I would love to do a session with you. It would be great. But in the meantime, maybe you want to make a list about what you identify with, and maybe that should open up maybe a path for more excitement. I'm sure there'll be lots of research.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Sohail, like, you know, like we said during the video, Life Synapses is space about building life connections, you know, and there are multiple mediums through which you can build this connection. So whether it is tarot, whether it is intuitive movement, whether it is Reiki, whether it is clinical psychology, whether it is understanding internal systems, whether it is laughter, whatever your tool might be. So, and And our idea is to be able to connect with like-minded people, with people who we find a strong connection with. Yeah, to really uh, give them a space for them to interact with you and for you to interact with them. And I think this is really a co-creative space. We are trying to really bridge gaps. Yeah. So I think, you know, it's 5:54 p.m. IST from our side. So I think I don't think we have time for. Well, we have time for one last question by Ritika Reddy, and she says, "What is the future of her current relationship, please?"
Okay, the
Yeah,
future
and
of your current relationship. It always takes me a minute to decide which deck I want to use. Okay. Shuffle. Sorry about the noise. I'm just shuffling the decks because so many questions and I want the energy to stay light. The future of your
current
relationship. Well, you're showing up as the bear. And you know, the bear is somebody who takes their time, hibernates, goes within. So you know, the bear eats a lot and then hibernates for a long time and uses their energy slowly and steadily. The bear is also known to be very protective of their young. He messes with the mama bear because they're super scary. There is a space of nurturing. There is a space of nurturing yourself. And I think your future relationship really depends on your relationship with yourself and your future relationship with yourself. So I think it's important in order to have a positive, healthy relationship with your partner, that you have a positive, healthy relationship with yourself. And that would be this would be a good time to go on an inner vision quest, you know, just go within, find the areas which you need to heal, which you need to take care of yourself in. And the minute you have that down, your relationships, all your relationships outside of you will change and shift in a positive way. So
great. Thank you, Rea. All right, so thank you so much for watching. You know, this session, this outreach initiative with Tarot with Rea. Yeah, please, we're going to put up a form over there if you would like to explore Rea's methodology, Rea's way of really connecting with your inner self, with your, you know, finding space within your own space. Yeah, so please get in touch with us on Life Synapses. Please click like on the Life Synapses page so that you get to know what's happening. Next Friday, September 11th, 2020, between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., Papa CJ, one of India's topmost stand-up comedians, motivational trainer, author of the book Naked, is going to be on the Life Synapses session with us, where we're going to talk about laughter as a way of dealing with your own anxiety or own self. He has some very, very interesting tidbits. I've known CJ for 25 years, Papa CJ for 25 years, before he was Papa CJ. So, well, there are a lot of stories. Yeah, if you've not picked up his book, do pick that up. It's a lot of fun. And please write down your comments. What did you experience? What did you learn? Like I said, if you want to book a session with Rea, she's available. The link is going to be put up very soon. The recording for this video is also going to be put up on our YouTube channel. So for the time being, on Facebook, please subscribe to Life Synapses. Thank you so much, Rea. I really appreciate this. Thank you for making this information so accessible to people, to be able to connect with everyone, to be able to introduce tarot in a very approachable way. I think that is really, really important. Yeah, and not have this, you know, sometimes it gets airy-fairy with a lot of people. And
you can add as much drama as you like.
Yeah,
it's tarot, it's fun.
It's
or
true.
It's simple.
It's simple. It's simple, it's deep, it's authentic, it's
real.
And it's real. Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, really, really nice that you attended.
Thanks again for having me.
You're most welcome.
Thanks guys for your questions.